Hi, welcome to my channel, The Sales Target. I'm your host, Manik. Today we are going to talk about communication, the holy grail of selling. First up, do you feel connected with me, with what I am wearing? Do you approve? Or do you feel disconnected? You think there's something of value that you want to listen to me? What's your perception? How about now? Is there a shift in your perception about me? From about 3 seconds before to now? You want to take me seriously? You know what? I want to be much more relaxed and more comfortable. Yeah, this is me, more relaxing. Then again, it's not about me. I need to really connect with others. So I guess this is not going to help. I need to come up with something more safe and appealing to everyone. Yeah, I think this is much more appropriate. So when it comes to communication, we are constantly emanating different symbols, signs and messages all the time. So it consists of not just the words and the language that I use, but how I move, the hand movements, the eye movements, the head, whether it's tilted or not. So constantly we are emanating so many different symbols. And signs and interpretation vary from person to person. හැම පුද්ගලයාම සෑම අවස්ථාවක sannivedana මාර්ගයෙන් සලකුණු නැත්නම් සංඥා sannivedana කරනවා. ඒක අර්ථකථනය කිරීමෙත් විවිධත්වයක් තියෙනවා පුද්ගලයන් පුද්ගලයාට. Now for example, if somebody is listening to this message, especially someone who has worked with me long time back, he would really look at this newfound information in the light of how I have been to him long time back. His perception of me, he will retrieve from his hard drive or his brain and then try to fix this new material or new message to who I was at that time. Same goes to someone whom I had not met for a long time from school days. And suddenly he sees this message, he will interpret this message in the lines of how I was to him in school, what sort of character I was. So he will try to fix in my earlier perception to the new message that I received. This is totally different to someone who is for the first time, who doesn't know me, doesn't know my background. Exposed to this message, we interpret this same message totally differently. So because whenever we interpret, we give meaning or create association through our past experience. That's why every single message varies from customer to customer. So the first lesson is that you can't have one single communication strategy. You need to clearly differentiate between customer to customer because their opinions, values, view of the world, beliefs are all different. So we need to incorporate those elements associated with that particular individual, customize your communication strategy to every single customer. So basically the entire communication arsenal is divided into two segments, verbal and non-verbal, vachika or avachika. Verbal component consists of words that we speak, which is 7%, and then 38%, which is tonality or nadaswara we call it. Combination of all that we give rise to 45%, which is the verbal component. Then there is the big component or large component, which is non-verbal component, which got to do with how you move, the body language, which is about 55%. Basically how we show up, the chalana and penuma and dakma, how we move. So when it comes to words, it's all got to do with the kind of selection of words that we use and the language. Now there are few words in sales that we really don't use because that will break rapport immediately. Words such as I'm just following up or trust me, honestly speaking. So there are few words that you really don't use in a sales context. But essentially when it comes to words, you can really judge a character or his level of intelligence by the kind of the selection of words they use. How many times we have come up with this situation where there is a breaking of rapport in the language conversation. One party is speaking in one language and the other one is responding in something else. For example, if it is English and Sinhala, sometimes you find that you speak in English and another person responds in Sinhala all the time. And there are others who basically give greater significance to the language, not as just a communication tool, but as a status symbol. So sometimes even after struggling, they will come up with words so that they speak in English that gives a sense of superiority, sense of feel-good factor. Sort of they feel that they are important and significant. So that's fine. As long as we salespeople, we are not here to judge anyone. Our basically is to really connect and create rapport. So if some person feel that the language, especially English, if it is used as a status symbol, so we need to respond in kind. Sometimes I see they struggle to come up with few words and put a correct sentence together, but they still continue with speaking English, and that's just fine, as long as they feel good. So if you identify a customer like that, speak to them in English. In that way, they will create a greater rapport because they feel good. So it's up to us to really understand what sort of dialect they use and to match in kind. That's the salesman's job. Second, in the verbal component, we have what is called tonality, which is about 38%, which is the majority of the verbal component. Now, tonality is very important. That's what gives life or energy to words. Words without tonality are just no emotions attached. People use tonality at the right time, right moment to create that kind of trust and engagement. So in sales, we have about on average 11 different tonalities. For example, certainty, sincerity, creating excitement. So as salespeople, we'll use these at the right time to get the right desired outcome at that time. For example, if you greet someone, "Hi, how are you?" It's different to "Hi, how are you?" Or you can, by playing around with the space between the letters, you can really give a different meaning. For example, a simple word, one single word as "good morning." You can say, "Good morning, sir." Good morning. Totally different idea that can be generated. And you can also create significance by reducing the speed and in a soft voice that creates greater significance and respect. Another element of tonality and words is the speed of speech. On average, a human can read about 120 to 150 words per minute, whereas the brain can really comprehend or register 600 to 800 words per minute. So there is a huge range. So when you speak to a customer, you need to understand the speed in which he speaks. For example, a client must ask, "Can you please advise me whether I should deposit this money in a 1-month deposit plan, or should I go for 1-year plan?" To which the bank representative could reply as, "No, you should not go for 1 month, you should go for a 12-month plan, because the exchange rate is coming down, but if you're going to go for an early withdrawal, you will have problem because right now the going rate is about 15%. So there is a mismatch of speed, and it can be the other way around as well, where you speak very fast and you respond very slowly, so there's a mismatch. Sometimes you don't have to really match the speed, but you should, as a salesperson, come close so that there is relevance and coordination, and it's not just a monologue, it's going to be a dialogue. So as I said, tonality is all about space creation. By creating space in between words and letters, you give a different meaning. So to establish trust, credibility, passion and commitment and seriousness, you use this tonality to the maximum, especially in a sales presentation environment. So the other component, which is the non-verbal, is huge, 55%. So you simply can't ignore that. It would be a crime if you don't maximize that 55% to your advantage. So they say that the book is judged by the cover. Now, we got to make sure that the book is also been read. So how we appear matters a lot. So one of the common questions that I get in my training programs is that they look for inspirations, great leaders to get some cues in how to wear and how to present themselves. And they say that there are some cool leaders and they want to really copy them, emulate them. Laid back, wearing casual dress. So I just asked, who are these? Now most of these names they come up with are known across the planet either by their first name or second name. Jobs, Steve Jobs. Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg. Elon Musk. Branson, Richard Branson. Now these guys are larger than life. If you are larger than life and their contribution to humanity and you have created a dent in the way humans live, then you don't really have to care about how you look. Because you can wear Amude and come because your brand is larger than life and you will still be respected. If you look at Steve Jobs, his wardrobe choice consists of 4 pieces. He has his famous 501 jeans, and we all aware of his turtleneck, and of course his sneakers, which comes to about $165. Then we have Mark Zuckerberg. His wardrobe choice also consists of just 4 pieces. Right? He has his famous hoodie zip-up and his jeans and the Nike trainers as well as his grey t-shirt. So it comes to about a good $198. So if you are larger than life, really don't have to follow them. But if you are on your way up in your careers, make sure that you need to stay sharp. You need to act the part and dress appropriately. Now here I need to share something which is a bit cliche, and you have been exposed to this material on and so often. They say that you need to dress professionally. Now I'm not quite sure what does that mean. Is it means you need to wear a light shirt or check shirt or long sleeve or short sleeve, or you need to wear a full suit or coat? Now these are like some of the old ways of thinking. Now new thinking is basically we don't dress to impress, we dress to connect. In that sense, we have to make sure that we use that 55% to our maximum. When I say to connect, basically you can use your attire to subconsciously connect with your customer in any given situation, maybe with your boss or even an interview setup. I'll give an example. So if you're going to meet a client and you see and check him out prior, and if he's into wearing striped ties as opposed to plain ties, if you wear a striped tie, even at the subconscious level, there is a message that comes to his subconscious mind saying that, this guy shares the same view. Something similar to, the type of shirt. If it is light blue shirt, if he's into light blue or check shirt, you can probably emulate that. You can use the same thing so that you connect with them subconsciously. So there are so many other ways in which you can connect through your dress. Sometimes you find that very laid back organizations, sometimes if you go for an interview or an appointment, you want to make sure that you're aligning with the kind of culture they have. But sometimes there can be exceptions where they want you to wear like a full suit or tie, but you need to do your due diligence and understand exactly how they feel. So connecting through your clothes is a very important thing. So right now, as I said, use that 55% non-verbal cues to connect, because just dressing to impress and just wearing a professional attire doesn't really help the cause. Our objective is not just to look good. Our objective is to connect and look at, creating and closing a sale. So get that element right. Have you had this experience where in school, if you wear a particular shoe and if another part, even if you don't know, you wear the same kind of shoes, you kind of immediately connect with him at a subconscious level? So it's one area to basically use your non-verbal cues or your body or gestures or whatever you wear to really connect with others. The other aspect is basically to really interpret about other human beings. So let's look at some body gestures very briefly. First off, eyes. They said traditionally to maintain eye contact at all times. Sometimes to certain people it can be intimidating and can be an immediate put off. They feel threatened. Maybe if you don't maintain eye contact, it shows that you're not confident and that's something to hide and you're not sure of yourself. But little bit deeper analysis into eye movement, you can say that if you're looking at left upper hand corner, it's about really retrieving information from your hard drive or brain. So if you ask a question to a customer and the customer looks at left upper corner, basically is actually retrieving data from actual experience. So there is authenticity. On the other hand, if someone asks a question, he's looking at right top corner, it's all about creativity. He's creating an imagination. Then another situation where if you ask a question, he's looking left below like this, is a case where there is an internal dialogue, a disagreement. So whatever you just shared now, he's not totally on board. So at that time, if you see in your customer is doing that, you need to break state, re-engage the customer at that point and ask, Mr. Customer, any concerns you have on what I shared just now? That's how you re-engage. Otherwise, it can go and blow into a full-blown object. On the other hand, especially situation of female and male interaction, if one part is looking right bottom hand the corner, is an indication of deep feelings. So in a male-female situation, whether you want to really mix business with pleasure, I leave it up to you. But who knows, that might end up in a closing of a sale. Apart from that, there are other ways in the hand movements. When you have closed hands, it's an indication that there is no free flow of information, there's a barrier. So subconsciously, you have to make sure through your conversation that the hands get released. So in that way, there is authenticity. Otherwise, he's protecting, he's not sharing all this information. There is a very, very protective pose. And also there can be situations where the head movement. Sometimes if you have a panel, 3 people, one person may be most likely the guy who sits in the middle, most likely, not always. Sometimes he might have his chin a little bit up like that. It shows superiority. Sometimes you get the feeling, he has the feeling that everyone else is inferior or less than him. So people like that, you have to be very careful and not intimidate them or make them angry. Respect their judgment. Another good insight is the leg movement, especially in B2C operation or even a B2B situation where when the customer talks to each other, if the legs are aligned to the opposite person, that means he is in sync with you, he is in agreement what you say. But during the conversation, you see the legs are referring to either side, that shows there is a disagreement, he is not totally buying in. And if the legs are pointed towards the door, that means he just wants to get out of that place. Another interesting insight that if you are negotiating or conducting a deal, try and sit on the left side of the customer. This way they say that you have a greater probability of closing deals. Last but not least is the smile. We know that if someone really smiles, that he's happy and engaging and is positive. But a little bit deeper analysis into it, there's what is called Dutch's smile, which is the genuine smile and the fake smile. How do you identify the difference? The difference is that when it comes to a genuine smile, the entire body structure moves, especially you get wrinkles and all these muscles get activated. In a fake smile, only the bottom part of the nose gets activated, nothing from top. So if you do a fake smile, closing like this, there's no movement in the front upper part. So you can really assess how authentic the customer's response in terms of when they smile. So in a nutshell, there is verbal and non-verbal communication skills that you need to acquire. And this is absolutely relevant in today's context because as salespeople, we need every single tool to connect with our client. And finally, I want to quickly touch upon another area which we have been exposed to for, I would say, almost 20 to 30 years, which is what we call the etiquette, social or professional etiquette. Now, basically, I would say that is just common sense because I think as salespeople, you need to now step up and really look at your entire attire, the way you look and way you move to really connect. So you need to, move away and get up to speed in terms of connecting with people. So simple things that, do you really want someone to come and tell you that to have a clean shave, a nice haircut, or not to wear white socks with black shoes? You should match your shoes with your trousers. Do you really want someone to come and tell not to wear cartoon ties, not to have a strong perfume, not to wear too gaudy, over the top, colorful shirts to interview or for sales presentations? So these are all common sense. So you need to really master those very quickly and then really move on to the next level of really using your entire verbal and non-verbal skills to really connect with the customer. This is Manik signing off with yet another Sales Insight moment and reminding you it's time we stop selling and start closing.